10 cedis each day for the transport, it was totally out of my budget.
So you altered your lifestyle completely just so that you can save some money.
Exactly.
How much were you saving monthly?
I didn't have a fixed amount, but anytime they pay me, per my list, bucket list of my items I need for the shop, I come to buy the ones that
you can afford at the time.
Okay.
Yes, please.
That the money could cater for at the time.
Yes.
Okay.
I see.
Yes. And also, when I was there, I only go into the town, the main town, when we are paid or when I need something urgently. So it also helped me. Anytime I go to the town, I buy foodstuffs. I come to my to where I live, and then I prepare it from time. If I banku, rice and all that. So I wasn't buying enough.
Such an economist.
Yeah, I wasn't buying enough. And also, the whole town had only one borehole. So that's where we all fetch water from. So I didn't pay for water, only pure water sachet bags that I drink.
Okay.
Yes.
Good for you then. Let's bring Okatakyie in because I realized you were listening intently when he was speaking. But there are some other CSOs that have come out to say that NABCO was just a facade. Really, it was a waste of public resources and a waste of time, because what's the point in training people for 3 years and now half of them will have to go home and probably start all over again, try to look for jobs. The finance minister says that the public payroll is full, so venture into entrepreneurship. And these young people are saying, first of all, you haven't provided us with any money to venture into entrepreneurship. And not all of us can be entrepreneurs. And so what are you saying? What is your overall assessment of NABCO?
Well, first of all, I would like to ask him like 1 or 2 questions.
Yes,
you said you own a barbering shop.
Yeah.
And how big is the barbering shop? How many seats do you have?
It's only 1 seat.
Only 1 seat.
And then the couch I use in my barbering shop is actually what I use in my room.
Okay.
So I took that out from my room, and then I changed the leather. Instead of buying about 1,000 cedis and above, I took that and changed the leather.
Okay.
And I placed it inside. And also the curtains I use in there is one of the curtains I use in my room actually. I took the one on my door and took it into the barbering shop. And then the painting job and the wallpaper was done by myself. I looked on YouTube, I watched YouTube, and then I followed the procedures on YouTube, and I did the painting. So most of the things, like the couch and the painting job and all that, and the wallpaper was done by myself. So it's really cut down the cost for me anytime.
And before you even come in, what's your turnover in a day or in a week? How many customers do you have?
I'm yet to open actually.
Oh, you haven't opened it. Okay.
Yeah. But it's set and everything.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Let's put this on record that in every society you will find people like this. They are the extraordinary people among the lot. But then again, when you are formulating policies, there are vulnerable ones in that must be catered for, must be considered. So his story will be just 1 in a million type of story where somebody is squeezing. And even that, if we are going to be very honest, this same person, when he lives in US or UK, shouldn't need to go through all this hardship before he can set up anything of his own. So his story will not be used as the yardstick for our conversation. Now, what I have always said is that it looks as if this nation, we are building a temporary nation, then a certain generation will come in and build a permanent nation that we deserve. So any solution to our problems have become a knee-jerk reaction rather than finding a permanent solution. Any nation that wants to develop, you don't develop with this yakwakaha kakra ni yakwakaha kakra. One, you must have a national plan, an agenda. Let's say a 20-year, 30-year national development plan that has continuity and has the legal temerity to turn itself if any government refuses to go by it. For ours, we don't have it. So anybody sits down, wake up, whatever comes to their mind, they bring it to us. Sloganeerings, NABCO, planting for food and jobs, one this, one that, one this. Then you ask yourself, what is the national agenda? So even with our education, we are supposed to have a national agenda, a very big one, and tailor our education to meet the national agenda. But we don't have it. We have been educating people for the sake of education without knowing what we want to use them for. If not that, how can we live in a country and after 64 years, we don't even have an economic census? We've had population census just recently, but we have economic census. We don't. We don't know how many people who are going to go on retirement in the next 10 years. And for that matter, when we are supposed to educate people, we are educating them to feed them into the bigger agenda. We don't. We sit here and we don't know how many people are going to be the doctors for the next 10 years, how many people are going to be nurses for the next 10 years. So for me, it's become political parties wanting to hoodwink everybody along and say, oh, NABCO, this, NABCO. The last 3 years, what were they thinking when they were creating the NABCO?
But you know why NABCO came about? Because we had gone to the IMF for a bailout, and they had told us that we could not hire people into the public sector for a while until we were able to finish paying. Even that, some economists came out and said, after we're done paying and we exit IMF, we still should not open up employment in the public sector because then it will cost us a lot more to pay. So that is why government set up NABCO, so that they can provide some training for these young people who will not be employed into the public sector. So was that not, at least at that point, a solution to some extent?
For the past 3 years, certain people have gone on retirement in the public sector. Though you and I agree that the public sector cannot absorb everybody. But then again, when we were taking these people into the NABCO training, whatever, we knew, and we should have had a plan, that this is going to be the exit plan where these people are going to be fed into those positions that people have actually exited.
Yeah.
What happened? The last 3 years, are you saying nobody left the public sector?
The president said some 49,000 people had been absorbed some way, somehow, into entrepreneurship or into public
For
sector.
3 years?
Yeah.
Well, he said that some 49,000.
49,000 out of the 100,000 have been absorbed.
In fact, 97,000.
Then what happens to the rest, the 51,000? What are they going to do?
There's a plan. So now the finance minister has also given clearance for some 11,840 people to also be absorbed into the public sector. So they're saying that it's a gradual process.
Bella, let's not deceive ourselves, okay? This bunch of misleaders we have in this country presently, they have no clue where we are going as a nation.
Why do you say that?
Listen, like I said some few minutes ago, that you don't develop a nation like that where you do this knee-jerk reaction to solving problems. You have to have a national plan, a national development plan, a long-term one. Where is it? We don't have it.
No, we don't.
So where are you going to feed the people into? Just recently, the finance minister told us that the public sector, whatever, is full. Now, if it is full, it means that the private sector is supposed to expand and actually absorb all these people to work. What have you put in place for the private sector to expand? Nothing. Now, as a nation, if you want to develop, for instance, we sit in this country, Achipalago was walking about aimlessly in this country. The very moment he gets to America, he becomes a nurse. Have we thought of it? No. Because as a nation, all we care about is slogans. What happened to exporting brains? In the past, we used to talk about brain drain and everything. Meanwhile, in this current situation of the world, Philippines actually are exporting about 150,000 worth of nurses to America and Saudi Arabia. What happened to us? Training people to export them. All these people are going to lie down aimlessly, whereas we could probably have negotiations with other countries to export some of these brains and get remittance in return. But we won't do that. All we care about is slogans. We don't have a national development plan. If we go into details, the conversation we are going to have, I'm going to profess certain solutions that can help us move away from this sloganeering, this colonial mindset of... So
NABCO shouldn't come back?
For me, that is a knee-jerk reaction to solving problems. There must be a permanent solution.
Okay.
Before we even come to, I just want to ask. So we are told you guys have some associations. You're on other WhatsApp groups and all that. Are you in any of them?
My municipal WhatsApp group.
Municipal WhatsApp group.
For NABCO
so what's happening to your colleagues? What are they saying on these platforms? Have you heard that you've been asked to proceed on 2 weeks leave?
Yes, I have.
You saw it in the WhatsApp group.
Yes.
So what's their reaction?
It's very sad and very unfortunate. It's because most people also have their allowances in arrears and they are struggling. So I feel for them also. I'm not here to kind of put my story out.
But are there complaints in these WhatsApp groups?
Yes,
are they complain about what next to do and when next to go?
Yes,
and all that?
Even myself, I'm also in suspense. I would like to know what's next for WINAPCO.
Even though you have a barbering salon. No, but you see, okay, so are we to understand that that's just a business you have on the side? You wish that government could come out with a substantial solution and say that, okay, now that it's over, we are taking you to so-and-so secondary school as a permanent teacher.
I'm actually not a trained teacher.
Okay.
I read procurement and supply.
Sure.
At Accra Technical University.
So how did you end up on Educate Ghana?
Yeah,
they placed me in the classroom actually when they were posting. So I have to go and teach computing and then history and OOP.
What?
Wow.
But you study something totally different. Yes. I thought that so because of the 7 modules, they would post you based on what you studied in school.
Yeah, but you know, honestly, I didn't want to, when I was choosing the models, I didn't want to choose the civic because when I didn't have a good experience on my national service, the working environment and all that. So I didn't want to be part of it.
What was your experience?
Things were very slow over there.
Where? Don't mention the name of the institution, but what field? Was it health? Was it...
No, I was in the stocks department of a municipal assembly.
Okay.
Stocks department?
Yes.
And your experience wasn't too good?
It wasn't too good. There was no light, nothing. No, you can't even charge your phone. Things were also slow over there and all that.
So he ended up choosing something to survive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not because
so
that is his field.
Educate Ghana.
Yes, please.
But wasn't there supposed to be some sort of at least qualification to be able to propel you into teaching, because you had no training at all in teaching, no qualification whatsoever. So then how did you survive? How did you teach? And how long did you teach for? 3 years. So what were you teaching and how did you teach? You learned on the job?
I learned on the job. And there was, in my classroom, there was a trained teacher in there. So he was like a mentor to me. Anything I go, I ask him and all that. He teach the electives, the commerce, the sciences and all that. And I teach the
computer science.
I guess NACO was supposed to train you anyway. So if you didn't have the skills, then they'll provide you with those skills. Let's bring Prince in. He's been quiet for a while. I mean, youth unemployment, I can imagine if we give you the whole day, you talk about it endlessly. You've had an experience as well in terms of starting your own business. Share a bit of that with us if you don't mind.
All right. So I used to work with a multinational firm, and you know, like during I think the first phase of the COVID, I was laid off. And I was thinking of where my next, you know, like paycheck would come, because you know, like my rent was due, and I had to survive. So I'm quite spiritual. So I said, or I prayed to God that He should show me the way. And some way, somehow, someone who is in, like the chartered marketing field, because I'm a candidate. I'm just, I left to just one level to become a chartered marketer.
Okay.
And some way, somehow, I decided to start shoemaking. Okay. And it was, like a total deviation from what I actually studied in school. So I also learned on YouTube how to design shoes and all that. And I started. Some way, somehow, unbelievably, I think like during the first phase, I think the first 2 weeks into the production, I was able to sell everything in just a space of, like 2 days. And it was amazing. So it actually, like boosted my confidence
that you could
to go in harder. And with the fact that, like Ghanaians or say like Ghanaian, like producers are not able to produce a certain, like level of quality products, I had to, I break the status quo. So I said that, like no matter what, and I know that, the materials are extremely expensive in town. So I had to find a way to, like buy those materials to still produce regardless. So I sold some of my, like my TV and a few other things because I meant business. And some way, somehow, I was able to produce more. And it kept going, it kept going, it kept going. And we, like kept, like getting better as the day goes by. So one day when the finance minister said that, like the government's payroll is full, so he would urge the young entrepreneur or like the youth to enter into entrepreneurship. I watched it, and some way, somehow, it's, like boosted my confidence.
Rather?
Yes, it did.
Were you not worried about everybody else who was saying that we don't have money to start a business? We are not all entrepreneurs. So what are you saying?
Yes.
After you have promised us how many million jobs,
1 million.
during the mid-year budget review?
Yeah, so when you are in a land, right, and you like want to be Jacob there, and you find your way or find things, or like you find yourself in a situation where you cannot be Jacob, I think you should be an Esau.
How much did you start this shoe or leather business with? Do you remember?
Yes, with about a little over 2,000 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
It was more or less, like a severance, like package I got.
Severance package from the multinational
yes.
company.
Yes.
What's your turnover currently?
Currently, I make not less than 6,000 a month.
Okay. Is it?
Yes.
Not less than 6,000?
Not less than 6,000 a month.
And that's just pure profits
yes,
that you make
yes,
after taking out all your costs and overheads?
Yes, because, and I've not been in business for even 2 years. It's
under 2 years.
Yes, under 2 years. And because I go in hard, the thing is that I urge myself to always do, like quality products. And as a chartered marketing candidate, I have my ways and means to get people to, like appreciate, like the things I do. So some way, somehow, it fits into, like the marketing of this particular product as well.
Well, let's just show you his work. And so these are the boots that he makes, by the way. So these are more like what? Security service boots and factory boots and stuff, right?
Basically.
So professional ones, I must say. These are some of the things that he produces. By the way, he says that his turnover is like 6,000 Ghana cedis every month. That's interesting. But you're saying that when the finance minister says every young person should go into entrepreneurship, it boosted your confidence.
Yes, it did.
Why and how?
Good. Because all along, I was thinking of how to expand. So I started it even before he even I made that statement. So I thought perhaps, the government is, like ready to support us. So I was like, wow. Then I would do this and send it to, an agency to see how it turns out. And I went there and I was disappointed.
Oh, you were disappointed?
Tell us the story. What happened?
All right, so...
Was it one of our security services or anything?
Yes, but I will just, like summarize it. I'll just like put it in a nutshell. Okay. I had an opportunity to visit, like one of the security, like services. I spoke to them. Okay. And the feedback was that, wow, these are good and, like quality products. But we can't work with you.
Why?
Because I don't want to stress on that.
But no,
we want to know. It's just fair.
To know.
All right, so
give just one of the reasons.
Right, so,
what's the main reason they gave you?
The main reason was that perhaps I wasn't having the capacity. That was one.
Okay.
To, like do mass production.
Mass production,
exactly.
Okay.
And secondly, I thought perhaps, the Ghana service or the police service had academies of acquiring their their boots, which I think I wasn't like qualified for at the time.
When you say qualified for, is it the quality of the boots that you're not qualified for, or your level of production? How many of these can you make in a day, by the way?
All right, so I'm a startup, and I do it like based on demand. Okay. So as and when I get demand is when I produce.
Would you be able to make 100 of these in a day?
In a day?
Yeah, 100.
No, in a week.
So how many in it? Let's say you had funding, you had the right opportunities to produce. How many can you produce in a day?
200 in a day.
200 a day?
Yes. With how many people?
About 50.
About 50 people.
And so you are looking for funding so that you can expand?
Yes.
How many people are in your employment at the moment?
5.
5 people, plus yourself 6?
6.
Okay.
Okatakyie, come in.
Bella, I think you see, I told you, it's about leadership. I have had the opportunity to do the same thing, get into entrepreneurship, then I get disappointed because policies are not put in place. Let's assume we are a nation that thinks and have vision, and we want to propel these kind of young guys into bigger companies. What do? You put all of them under a bigger umbrella, where you finance them through the same youth bank the finance minister was talking about. This is a case where a young guy is willing to be able to work and expand his business. He negotiates with the security agency. If the security agency could at least even agree to sign a contract with him, he could use that document to go to any bank and seek for funds. But in this case, we've written him off completely. Whereas you and I know that these boots the security agencies wear, we import them from China, making another country rich. Instead of us coming together and thinking on how to bring these guys, these people who have learned under an umbrella, we have Kumasi Shoe Factory lying down, getting rotten for nothing. But these leaders don't care. All they care about is who sponsored our campaign, so we can give him the next contract to go to China and come and make money. Not how we can grow youth leaders. I made sure that I actually invested certain amount into piggery, pig farm. I spent so much thousands of money.
How much?
Well, about 200,000 Ghana cedi.
Okay.
Krabwa Kota. For those of you who live in the eastern region, Krabwa Kota, Amfasudo Kochua. Do you know what was happening? I managed to build one of the best pig style, put my pig style into one of the best experience, produce, within a matter of 3 years, I had about 200 to 300 pigs. But here lies the case that the same government who is supposed to protect certain people like ourselves had opened the ports, and the importation of frozen pigs was on the ascendancy.
Yeah.
Then this is what happens. Because the taxes on these piggeries are not expensive, it became much cheaper for people to go in for those kind of piggery than come in for the fresh one. So those who do the wayside frying of pork and everything, in the past they could go as far as Swedro to go look for it. But this time they were not doing it. So when you do proper feeding like I was doing, when you sell one pig, you go and buy feed with that money, come and feed the rest. By the time you sell the last one, you don't have anything left to continue. So policy making, leadership, instead of us to protect the youth who have decided to go into these kind of entrepreneurship, they won't protect you. Then they come and sit there and be giving you slogans. Go into entrepreneurship. Go into entrepreneurship with what? No bank in Ghana is ready to give any youth money as startup capital. Whereas in other jurisdictions, idea is money. The very moment you have an idea put on paper, you will get a bank to finance you, and sometimes they appoint someone on your farm or business to monitor it with you so returns can be made. Any government that is serious about making sure the youth gets into entrepreneurship, this is what they do. You allow the youth to produce and you help them with marketing. Equatorial Guinea, 3 years ago, they encouraged the youth to go into farming, not just any farming at all, but spices, because they had signed a negotiation with India that they were going to supply them with certain amount of spices. So the government tells you, come, you are youth, come for money. Go into this level of production of spices. When you are done, you don't need to worry your head with marketing of that product. Because I cannot worry myself and produce piggery, and when I am done, I'm supposed to worry my head. So in 1972, there was National Redemption Decree, which gave Ghana Meat Marketing Board, where Perez Dome is right now. Ghana Meat Marketing Board was only to oversee that when you produce anything, you don't need to worry your head about marketing.
Okay.
All you have to do is that there will be abattoirs in the various regions and districts. They will come to the farm gate and buy stuff from you, give you a check, make you happy, so you can go into production again. Here lies the case: when people produce, they don't even know where to go and sell them. Then they tell us to go into what?
Let me bring this in, because I remember when the Ministry of Business Development was, when it was created in the first year of President Akufo-Addo, it was headed by the current tourism minister, Honorable Awal. And they provided some funding for some businesses. I mean, you'd hear them talk about how they've supported some entrepreneurs here and there. So at least did they not do something to support young people?
I keep telling you, this is knee-jerk reaction. They provided funding for certain party supporters to let them feel that we are actually helping the party base. How many of these people have been able to actually repay back that money that was given to them? None. Because government didn't care.
You're sure none of them has been
I
able
am
to
asking,
pay?
they should bring us document and say that this was the roadmap. When we were providing funding, we had actually made available market space for them to go and produce and sell their goods. Nothing. You provide funding for who? Party-based supporters, when you cannot actually even give them a place to go and market their goods.
You now, can't say that for a fact that it's only party-based supporters.
My dear, you and I
because
know,
at least I know one person who benefited from that, and that person was not a party person.
You and
was
I
a young
know,
person.
You and I know how politics is done in this country. Politics and governance is done in this country. So maybe there will be an exception, but largely this was provided for party-based supporters. What we are saying is that as a nation, we must have a plan.
Okay.
And in having a plan, we believe that the private institution, private sector, is the engine of growth. Okay? Here lies the case, the private sector who are supposed to expand They have been crippled with corporate taxes. They cannot even expand. Look, I have a men's grooming center. That is why I asked him how many seats he has. I have about 7 seats in my barbering shop.
But you started earlier, right? So
no, it's been. In fact, I started during the COVID era.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Here lies the case. As a nation, we cannot even be able to protect indigenous companies, and we cripple them with taxes and SNIT payments and all that. When I started my company, during the COVID era, this is actually the second year we are. By the time I realized GRA is on my neck, that if you don't pay this, we are going to close it down. SNIT is saying this. If you don't, by the time you realize all the money you make gets into payment of these GRA and SNIT taxes, you cannot even expand. I made my mind that I was going to replicate the same men's grooming center in about 6 different places within a space of 5 years. Believe you me, after 1 year of operating this, the amount that has been taken from me from GRA and SNIT, it cannot let me expand. But what the leadership does not know is that, one, you are solving 2 problems. Generating revenue for government and also making sure the youth get jobs to do. But they tend to focus too much on the generation of revenue for government and forget how they can allow the private sector the free space. Now, if you're a nation, we sat here and government was talking about 1 district, 1 factory.
Yeah.
1 district, 1 factory. If there was a proper plan of 1 district, 1 factory, what they could have probably think of is that you zone the country into a zone tax system.
Yeah.
One of the major reasons that let people move from the northern part of the country to the southern part is to come look for a job. So if you want to solve the problem of rural-urban migration, at the same time solving the problem of youth unemployment and solving the problem of generation of revenue, you could zone the country into several zones and say that if you are a corporate institution, a private institution, and you decide to go to, let's say, Bumprugu Yoyo, Tumuja Keche, Remo, Karaga, and go and establish there, you will not pay the same corporate taxes as those who are probably operating within Accra and its environs. It will encourage more institutions to go to Karaga, Bumprugu, and go and expand there. What it will do is that in the immediate term, in the short term, it will drain government revenue. But in the long term, these companies will be able to expand, get more hands on board, and at the same time, these hands are going to pay income tax. Aside that, the company will be able to produce more, so valued added tax will rake in.
Yeah.
Aside that, these people will employ a lot of people. But this is a country that we do not plan. All we do is knee-jerk reaction to solving problems. NAPCO, near the agents and now you're quite 100,000.
NAPCO, no, we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it, and I would want to find out from the young man shortly after Cookie's and reading messages if he also agrees to the working relationship style, which was a master-servant one and not a trainee style. But Cookie, a lot of people are talking, aren't they?
Exactly. So many messages are coming in this morning. I'll just take a few of them so we continue with the conversation. This one says, it is hard to believe this gentleman who is claiming he saved NAPCO money. I had to even quit NAPCO for another short-term contract because I couldn't wait for 3 months before receiving 695 Ghana cedis. Either this gentleman was being assisted by his parents or he depended on his national service savings. Someone like me who had bills to pay and a child to take care of couldn't rely on that amount that comes once in 3 months. Philip from Accra sent in that one. Now, the problem with Ghana is that the politicians only think about themselves and their families. Bella, do you know that the GRA has recruited over 4 times and NAPCO interns with all the experiences were left out? I know someone who has recently been recruited and cannot even do any work. TV3, I'm watching you now. I was also a NAPCO beneficiary, part of Educate Ghana. For 3 years, I have handled integrated science alone in a double stream school from JHS 1 to 3. Now, I have the experience, so we'll have to look for a private school. With regards to payment of stipends, it has been very poor on my side. Too many arrears, and I am very certain it will not be paid. To be frank, please, let's be frank here. If Nanado didn't state in his manifesto that NAPCO will provide permanent employment, who in their right senses would leave than their current jobs to join the program. Looks like Okatakyie is out of touch with what is already happening. He can argue about the quantities absorbed, but that doesn't take away the fact that it has been done. Now, Kwablavi of Pokwasi says, the question I keep asking the MPP government is, where are the over 1 million jobs they claimed they have created for the Ghanaian youth? Look at the overcrowded number of youth that gathered at the various centers looking for employment. It's the Ghana Army, Fire Service, and Immigration. It is very sad. But when you want me to hold, kindly let me know.
Go ahead.
And then this one says, this young man is making sense. Having a simple life is important. He planned for his future. Let's take our Nigerian brothers in Ghana. Most of them have acquired their degrees and masters, but they are in magazine selling. Selling car products. In Ghana today, someone who has acquired a degree will fail to do something small, even if his income is little. Recommendations: employment is a pandemic every nation is facing. The government cannot solve all our needs. Private sector will have to expand when we as individuals are also becoming entrepreneurs or having entrepreneurial mindset. Simple life is the solution for today. Bella, can I go on?
Yes, carry on.
Okay, this one says, hi, please, I'm watching you from Commander in Sakurade, and I'm also a NAPCO beneficiary. I've been able to build a self-contained apartment.
How is this possible?
And buy a new plot of land.
Oh, no.
Are you kidding me?
No, that's not believable.
With 695 Ghana cedis. Bella, should I continue reading?
Okay, depends on where.
Well, it says, and are you joking? A plot of land for me, so
where did you buy the land? Tell us. Where? How much did
you?
you pay for that land? We'll calculate.
A self-contained apartment and a plot of land. How much is the plot of land? Because, mind you, it was 600, let's just say it was 700 Ghana cedis. Times 12 months, that's 8,400 Ghana cedis a year for the entire year. So 8,000, please someone calculate it for me. 8,400 times 3 years. How much is that?
Ghana.
So how much? 83 what? 24. So let's just say a little, let's say 25,000 Ghana. Realistically, which part of Ghana can 25,000 Ghana build a self-contained apartment and another plot of land?
Yeah. That's what I'm asking, where?
Kindly help us with analysis here, because I'm not understanding. 8,400 a year times 3 years is just a little over 25,000 Ghana cedis. So where in Ghana,
established a mobile money business.
Can you imagine all that with 25,000 Ghana cedis? I don't know, but I think we just.
You can't buy a piece of land from mobile money business.
No, but your whole overall is almost
it's 25,000 for the 3 years.
No, but he said he started a mobile money business.
No, but he stated building the apartment first, and then
he said I did all this through. If you can just scroll down so we see. He says I did all this by establishing a mobile money business.
Says yes, and that kept me going. But I wouldn't speak to myself as a person. But for all we listen, so I mean, she needed some form of capital to even start the mobile money business. So how much did she start the mobile money business with before she was able to buy the plot of land and then build an apartment? All with over 20. Anyway,
into a plot of land. I'll buy 2 years. You're out of plot of land.
Okay. I will continue.
Grace and favor.
Should I continue? This one says, I'm enjoying your program on NAPCO, but let me admit the bearded man in your studio is a doom monger. NAPCO was a life-saving program initiated by a visionary leader who had some feelings for the unemployed youth. Please stop being a doom monger and bring suggestions on board. Well, Okatakyie, you said you proffer some solutions before you leave.
But I have been professing solutions.
Yeah.
That means he's not even listening.
Well, so that's what he's got to tell you. This one says, NAPCO has not been fair to the Heal Ghana module at all. We haven't been paid since April 2021, all in the name of the doing verification to know those who are recruited by the Ghana Health Service. We seriously don't know how long this verification will be done before payment, whilst NAPCO has come to an end. It is just so sad that even during this COVID-19 pandemic, we're still working like other health workers, but we are not even being recognized. Please, NAPCO has not absorbed the said number of people or figures you just mentioned. If anything, let trainees phone in, listen to what they have to say, and tell you the realities on the ground as it stands. Bella?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting comments. But Ralph, I'll come back to you first because I want to find out, since you are saying that NAPCO has been good to you, do you think it should bring back this policy?
If possible.
if possible.
Yes, please.
But this is someone saying that they've not been paid. Heal Ghana has not been paid for what? How many months? Since April 2021.
Yeah, well, it's rather unfortunate. I feel for them. I would like to plead with
The Secretariat.
Dr. Ibrahim Nyas and his people so that they can help us. All the people, all the trainers who have their money in arrears, it should be rectified and then paid accordingly to us because we honestly need it. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
But it should come back. If it should come back, is there anything that you want them to change about the policy?
Honestly, the allowance being paid, if it should be increased, a SNIT.
Were they paying your SNIT?
No, there was no, it's just the allowances.
Okay.
No, yeah, so if they add that tax to it, I think it would be very
Did you ask
beneficial.
why they weren't paying your SNIT?
I didn't ask, honestly.
Okay, none of you asked. I mean, you belong to an association. Did they not try to fight for SNIT payments?
There have been words about that actually. Oh, they should do this, they should do that, but up to now.
So 3 years gone without SNIT contribution.
Without SNIT contribution.
That's a problem because that means you got out of school and you don't have any SNIT contribution at all as it stands.
Yes, please.
Hey,
But something just crossed my mind. Has government been able to provide us with documents to show how many people that has been recruited into the mainstream government work?
Well, they haven't given us documents to show. It's only the president who came out and said that some 49,000.
We cannot trust a government that said that they've created about 2 million jobs in the formal sector, whether in private sector or public.
He said public.
Whereas, even when you go to the SNIT data, okay, the people currently on the SNIT contribution data, they are not even up to 1.8 million. So how can the government create about 2 million jobs in the formal sector? And when you go to where they are supposed to contribute SNIT, it is not even up to 2 million. The whole of Ghana, the people who contribute to SNIT, we are not up to 2 million. So where are the jobs? You created 2 million jobs in 4 years, and we cannot see that reflection on SNIT contribution. How did that happen? So the government is saying they've actually recruited about 49,000 people. We need statistics. We need data on that to see that. In fact, government recruited these people into this sector, that sector. We need that because this government cannot be trusted when it comes to bandying of figures around and all that. Now, let me profess just a simple
Just quickly, I want to say that because a number of people will be wondering why we haven't spoken to anybody at the Secretariat. We've been trying to reach them for God knows how long. The boss is not answering our calls. He will send us a message, I'll call you back, and we don't hear from him. So please, if you're at the Secretariat and you're watching, we need answers. We need
they don't have it.
Evidence.
They don't have answers.
Dr. Anya, please, Dr. Ibrahim Anyas, pick up our calls. We beg you. We want to interact with you.
They don't have answers. They don't. They are only bandying figures around because they know the Ghanaian does not even check anything. We don't verify anything. I am saying that these people cannot be trusted with figures. Now, with professing of solutions to some of the problems when it comes to recruitment. Just recently, I was driving past Accra Girls and I saw that the youth of this country have lined up going for aptitude, whatever, and all these
for the
things.
security agencies.
A nation that wants to develop with a national development plan, you should not recruit people into the security agencies through that nonsense. Sorry for my language.
What do you mean by nonsense?
This is a case where every year, for the past 10 years, year in, year out, more than 100,000 youth are coming from your Ivy League tertiary institutions. And you don't have a plan for them. Any nation would have probably instituted national service where people who want to go into the security service can go through the national service, have some 6-month training on intelligence gathering and other aspects of security. You don't line people up like the colonial master was doing and looking at their body features and say, you qualify. Well, you don't qualify. When in this modern day and era, security is much more about intelligence gathering.
They gave reasons for why they rejected people on the grounds of stretch marks and,
It is not even about the reasons they rejected people. What I'm saying is that you could simply give them the opportunity through national service, where Nkrofo national service and the for 6-month training. During that period, you put them on a database So the next time you want to recruit, you give them a first-hand opportunity to apply, whether they want to join the security service or not.
But it's not just the degree holders that apply to the security agencies. You know that, right? Because they were given room for even what? Is it SHS graduates and diploma holders to also apply? So what happens to those group of people? Those people can also be given the opportunity. When you are done with Polytechnic, you can go through these methods by being part of the security service for 6 months. One, it trains the minds of the youth. It makes them disciplined. Two, it makes them be able to gather intelligence, even if they don't have the opportunity to get onto the main security agency. What happens is that they will be able to gather intelligence in the society and feed it to the mother security agency. And it becomes a safer society for all of us. But that's just one aspect. That's security. What about the rest of the graduates?
The rest of the graduates, you want to entertain them to go into farming, because farming is the way to go. Ghana has about 158,000 kilometers square of arable lands. We've been able to cultivate about 50,000 out of it. Lying about 100 and something thousand kilometers square. You are not able to engineer your youth to go into farming because you don't have any plan for them.
For me, the most important question I want to ask the gentleman, and I would want you to be as honest as possible.
Sure.
You knew nothing about teaching, but yet you were enrolled in Educate Ghana.
Exactly.
Would you say that at the end of the 3 years, you were really trained in the field of teaching? Did you receive proper training, would you say?
No, I wouldn't say I received proper training.
So what you gathered was just what your mentor, you said there was a mentor in the school who would teach you how to go about things.
Yes, please.
That's all you had.
Yeah.
But there wasn't like a proper training module that you followed.
No.
You?
The only the only training module that I followed was when the new syllabus was brought up.
Okay.
And I went for the training program for a week. That's all.
And that was it. Yet you were teaching, was it SHS?
No, it's a primary school.
Primary school.
6.
Primary. So you were teaching class 6.
Class 6.
That is the class you were teaching. And you taught class 6 for 3 years.
Would you want to continue as a teacher?
Definitely not.
Oh, I'm just asking.
He laughed it off. I mean, the answer is clear.
Answer. Yes or no?
If I have the chance, I will.
You continue as a teacher.
If you
Are you giving us a political answer?
Yeah,
Honestly, I'm
You
not
want to
affiliated
continue
any
as a
political
teacher?
party. I shared my honest views on social media.
Yeah.
I wasn't speaking for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wouldn't like people to take it to me. I'm not affiliated to any
Right.
political
But
party.
so what is it about the teaching profession that you love that you would want to continue, all things being equal?
It's very friendly. It gives you time because after maybe by 2, 3 o'clock,
You're
school
done.
is- you're
So
done.
it's because of
So-
the time that you can
No,
go for
no,
your
you
other...
Go to the barber shop.
Yes, you can also do some other things in
I
addition
see.
because I actually believe in having
Multiple
multiple income.
sources
So
of
you didn't
income.
develop a passion for teaching necessarily.
I didn't develop a passion for teaching.
Then
necessarily.
teaching is not your thing.
Even Dabella, me, I've been a teacher before. All this, you can't say that after 2, 3 you are done. When you are done, you are supposed to prepare your notes
You're
for the
supposed to be
next.
marking
You're supposed to be
exams,
marking the
homework
exams. So
and all
obviously
that.
that cannot be a reason for
Yeah.
you to say you want to go
Right.
into teaching.
Yeah.
We've all been teachers through hustling. In fact, class 6, class 5 teaching is not anything up of the roof because when you complete secondary school and you come out, most of these people back in the days we used to go and teach in these private institutions. So teaching, but you can't say you love teaching because
Because of that. Prince, Nako, should it stay or not?
So my candid view on this is that, honestly speaking, I haven't had the experience of being a NABCO personnel.
But you've heard people.
But on the other side, if people are just home and idle and are not doing anything, not also like getting any source of income, and at least, I'm saying this emphatically, they have gotten an opportunity to learn something and also make a little, like income from what they are studying. I think it's half a loaf is all
better than.
So you, in your opinion, we should roll it over. We should continue
until we have a sustainable, development, plan to create jobs for the people who are still home. Until then, I think
it should still be in place.
Yes,
They should.
Yes,
Let me just read a quick comment. So Governor Obin says that, have any of these ingrates been appreciative of any efforts by governments? Among the lot, you had the privilege to intern and learn. Now comes the backlash. He says you're ingrates. Then someone, Enia J, says the nerve to call them ingrates. When the government was promising jobs and heaven and earth to them, who forced them? Indeed, how many people behave when they want something? Okay, I'm trying to understand this, but basically, it's not right for you to call NAPCO beneficiaries ingrates. That's what someone is saying. Quite a number of messages came out. Kojo Randolph says it created more frustrated, underemployed youth. Probably the policy wasn't well thought through, or a part of the implementation chain has fallen. It wasn't thought through. It is a trainee program that wasn't ever meant to be permanent. The government, however, failed to bring up lasting solutions to unemployment while this NAPCO program was running. Forgive us if we could not read all your messages, by the way, but thank you so much for joining us. We have to go. You want to say something? Yes. Okay.
I've been a NAPCO personnel all this while, and I've seen the challenges. It's unfortunate that it's too much for us. So I would like to plead with Dr. Ibrahim Nias concerning our arrears and all that. Some of us also have
arrears.
Yes, arrears.
But is this 2 months for you?
No,
and that's across board, national.
Yes,
no,
I'm
but
speaking for the ones.
7 months.
Yes, 7 months.
The last time in April.
Yes, please. 5 months, 7 months, and all that. I would like to plead for them to be looked at.
To release the
yes,
funds.
for them also, because we all need it.
Okay.
And also, my shop is at Kaswa Brigade Junction. Anyone who is around Kaswa.
But before we go, I just want to remind the finance minister that he tells us that the government payroll is full. Unfortunately, it looks like that is a deliberate action to make the government payroll full. Most of these people, they are on retirement. The constitution of this country puts the retirement age at 60. Whereas he says that when you have some exceptional qualities, then we can give you contract on 2 years, 2 years and 1. These payroll that has the likes of Osafo Malfo, the likes of the finance minister himself at the age of 62, the likes of 68 years, Kofi Juma, 72 years. Please, it will definitely be full. So some of them, we are pleading with them that after 70 years of serving your nation, kindly go home and rest. If you still want to work, okay, in other jurisdictions, what they do is that they create parallel structure where people who are on retirement will go and become consultants for government. They don't depend on government to be paid every month. So instead of going to seek for consultant from other side of the world, these brains that we claim to have, let them form consultancies. Then we probably will pay them to work for government, not to be on the government payroll. Please go home and retire.
So,
let the youth get jobs to do.
Thank you so much.